with immediate effect. Greetings, I am Victor. At 47, I have dedicated 15 years to managing client relations at Brimvale Bioworks. As the new director, Amanda addressed my entire team. I simply nodded, maintaining a steady grip on the conference table. I sincerely hope that the client presentation on Friday is a success. Silence enveloped the room. My team individuals I had brought on board, nurtured and observed as they evolved from junior associates to department leaders, gazed at the table. Amanda's gaze sharpened. At 32, she held an MBA from a prestigious institution and was brought on board 3 months ago to revamp operations despite having no prior experience in the biotech industry. "Could you clarify what you mean?" she inquired. I beamed with joy. "You'll come to understand it in due time." I made my way to the office and began the process of packing up my things. 2 cardboard boxes encapsulating 23 years of labor. Images capturing the essence of triumphant product launches. Recognition from pleased cuss Eric ears. The coffee mug my daughter gifted me, proudly declaring "World's Best Dad." Amanda lingered in the doorway, an air of unspoken thought surrounding her, as she seemed to struggle to articulate whatever was on her mind. "Victor, regarding the Hollowgate account, that's no longer my concern," I remarked, sealing the first box with tape. After that, she departed, leaving me in solitude. My team meticulously filtered through each item one by one. There was little said between them, only silent handshakes and commitments to keep in contact. Rachel, my senior analyst, stayed the longest. "This is not right," she murmured. "It's all about business," I explained to her. However, we were both aware that it was not the case. In reality, I had anticipated this for several weeks. From the moment Amanda stepped in, she has subtly been diminishing my contributions, arranging meetings in my absence, reflecting on my choices in the presence of clients. Last week, she proposed to upper management that my traditional approach was hindering the company's progress. Unbeknownst to her, I had been meticulously documenting everything, each minor detail, each effort to exclude me. I had also been bracing myself for the most challenging outcome. After 15 years of overseeing million-dollar accounts, one inevitably becomes adept at anticipating every possible scenario. I carefully packed my boxes into the truck and made my way home. My wife, Laura, was there with coffee in hand, her expression revealing that she was already aware of the situation. "How severe?" she inquired. "It certainly has the potential to be more challenging," I remarked. As I sat in my kitchen gazing at those boxes, a wave of emotion washed over me, something I hadn't experienced in years. Not frustration, not sorrow, a more incisive perspective. Amanda had erred, a significant one. It wasn't until Friday morning that she would come to the realization, prompted by a call from Hollowgate Systems inquiring about the status of their presentation. The presentation that was uniquely mine to convey. I began my journey at Brimvale immediately after graduating from college. In those days, it was a modest enterprise fueled by ambitious aspirations and significant challenges. The founder, the venerable Gerald Brimvale, made a bold decision to invest in a young individual brimming with ambition despite a lack of experience. During my initial 5 years, I immersed myself in a wealth of knowledge. Procedures in the laboratory, adherence to regulations, understanding client psychology. At the age of 30, I found myself leading the client relations department. By the age of 35, I had established myself as the go-to expert for companies seeking quick and effective biotech solutions. I had cultivated connections that sustained Brimvale through the challenges of the 2008 recession. While others faltered, we flourished due to the trust our clients placed in me. Laura grasped the expectations. The calls from overseas clients that come in during the late hours. The weekend excursions aimed at securing new contracts. She nurtured our daughter Chloe, while I focused on creating something significant. a source of support for our family that also created jobs for 63 individuals. However, a shift began to occur when Gerald decided to retire 2 years back. Marcus, his son, assumed the role of CEO and enlisted consultants who communicated in jargon and viewed employees merely as numbers on a spreadsheet. Amanda was one of those consultants who had managed to persuade Daniel that she could enhance our client engagement strategy. From the very beginning, the indicators were evident. She would come to client meetings lacking any background knowledge, then cut me off during my presentation to propose changes that were completely illogical. She took the initiative to reorganize my filing system without consulting me first. To make matters worse, she began arranging calls with my most important clients, asserting that she needed to evaluate their satisfaction levels. 3 weeks ago, I arrived at the office early and overheard her speaking on the phone with someone from corporate. She remarked that Victor's methods are no longer relevant. The clients hold him in high regard, yet they are seeking innovative ideas. I can achieve equivalent outcomes while significantly reducing the overhead involved. Reducing the overhead necessitated a reduction in my team size. Individuals such as Rachel, who dedicated her nights to thoroughly understand the Hollowgate account specifications, or Eric, who had taken the initiative to learn Mandarin in order to enhance communication with our partners in Shanghai. I regret not addressing the situation with her at that moment. In place of that, I followed my usual course of action. I concentrated on the task at hand. The Hollowgate presentation marked the pinnacle of our pitching efforts this year. A contract valued at $30 million for advanced biosensor technology. I dedicated 8 months to this endeavor, fostering connections with their technical team and gaining a deep understanding of their specific needs. Amanda was aware of the meeting, yet she lacked the specifics. In her perspective, presentations consisted of PowerPoint slides, accompanied by standard talking points. She was unaware that Hollowgate's chief technology officer had a strong aversion to formal presentations, and that their procurement director only placed trust in vendors who could communicate in her preferred manner, clear, detailed, and straightforward. The irony was exquisite. Amanda had let me go to project an image of decisiveness and progressive thinking. However, on Friday morning, when Hollowgate reached out specifically for Victor, she realized the distinction between overseeing individuals and nurturing connections. On Thursday night, sleep eluded me, not from concern, but from eagerness. At 2 a.m., Laura discovered me in the kitchen, seated with a cup of coffee and my laptop. She remarked, "You're contemplating something." I replied, "Just reflecting." She took a seat opposite me. 2 decades of marriage had imparted her with the wisdom of knowing when to assert herself and when to exercise patience. This was a moment of anticipation. Amanda reached out earlier. I ultimately expressed, "I have left 3 voicemails." What was her desire? Information regarding the Hollowgate presentation. Laura beamed with a warm smile. She had supported me through every late night and every weekend, dedicated to nurturing those client relationships. She had a deeper comprehension of what I had created than anyone else. "What information did you share with her, or there is nothing to discuss? I no longer work for her." At that moment, the realization struck me. The comprehensive extent of Amanda's actions. She had done more than simply let me go. She had obliterated a decade and a half of accumulated wisdom within the institution. Understanding client preferences, detailed technical specifications, the intricate dynamics of relationships that have evolved over many years. The Hollowgate account transcended the mere act of delivering a presentation. The essence lay in the trust cultivated through numerous smaller exchanges. It's akin to recalling that their lead engineer had a preference for technical drawings instead of flowcharts, or understanding that their CEO prioritized implementation timelines over cost savings in decision-making. Amanda believed she could manage without preparation, present a polished pitch deck, and effortlessly navigate the path to securing $30 million in business. She was completely unaware that Hollowgate's team would be anticipating the comprehensive technical breakdown I had assured them, the one that lived solely in my imagination and in notes that would remain undiscovered. I powered on my laptop and glanced at my calendar. The event at Hollowgate was set to commence at 10 a.m. Friday has arrived at 11 a.m. Amanda found herself in Marcus's office, attempting to articulate the reasons behind their most significant client of the year, leaving after just 20 minutes. My phone vibrated with a notification. A message has been received from Rachel. Amanda has spent the entire day in your office searching for files. She appears to be in a state of distress. I responded. The files are currently stored on the server. She possesses comprehensive access to all resources. That was indeed the case. She possessed contracts, fundamental client details, and standard presentation templates at her disposal. What she lacked was a frame of reference, the personal touch that transformed data into meaningful connections. I filled my cup with another dose of coffee and initiated a fresh document on my laptop. I began drafting my resignation letter. The official version I ought to have turned in months back when I first understood what Amanda was up to. However, I paused for a moment. Erased all content. What is the reason to simplify things for her? I decided to access my personal email and began connecting with contacts at various biotech firms, individuals who had been pursuing me for years. By the next morning, I found myself with 3 interview requests and a job offer in hand. Laura rose at 6 a.m. and discovered me still seated at the kitchen table, now fully dressed for the day ahead. "Are you heading out somewhere?" she inquired. "A coffee shop located in the heart of downtown. Reliable internet connection. A serene location, ideal for making calls." She pressed her lips gently against my forehead. "Show them no mercy." I had no intention of causing anyone any trouble. I intended for Amanda to handle that on her own. On a Friday morning at 9:47 a.m., I found myself seated in Brewster's Coffee House downtown when my phone began to ring. Amanda. I decided to let it go to voicemail. Subsequently, she reached out once more. By 10:15, she had made 7 calls. At 10:23, Rachel made a call. "Victor, could you let me know your whereabouts?" The Hollowgate team has arrived, and Amanda is experiencing quite the emotional breakdown. She is unable to locate the technical specifications that have been requested. "They're integrated into the system," I remarked as I stirred my coffee. She asserts that they are not. She has spent the entire night searching. Please ask her to review the project folder located within Hollowgate Systems. Subsection on technical specifications. Rachel fell silent for a brief moment. She mentions that the folder contains nothing but basic contact information. A hint of a smile crossed my face. The reason for this is that the technical specifications were never converted into a digital format. They can be found in my notebook. The blue one that resided on my desk. The one you brought back yesterday. The one I brought home yesterday. Rachel remained silent for an extended period. "They are seeking your unique input." The Chief Technology Officer expressed eagerness to engage in a conversation about the sensor calibration protocols you have created. I wish I could offer my assistance. At 10:45, Daniel made a call, the very person at the helm of the company. "Victor, your presence is required in the office. A misunderstanding has occurred." There is no confusion. I received notice of my termination yesterday. Amanda mentioned that this will take effect immediately. Let's find a solution together. Perhaps Amanda acted too quickly. Perhaps she was. However, I am no longer part of the team, Marcus. I am unable to provide legal representation for Brimvale during client meetings. As a consultant, please specify your fee. I am currently unavailable. That was indeed the case. I participated in a phone interview with Drift Shade Limited at 2 p.m. Their vice president of business development reached out personally after reviewing my resume that very morning. By 11:30, as indicated in Rachel's messages, the Hollowgate team had departed. Amanda was allotted a mere 20 minutes to deliver the technical documentation that had been explicitly requested. When she was unable to deliver, they would graciously excuse themselves and mention that they would reconsider their options. At noon, Amanda reached out once more. This time I responded. "Victor, I really need your assistance. This is a deliberate act of undermining efforts. This represents the outcomes. I have the ability to report you for actions that could be considered corporate sabotage, retaining corporate details." What details? I cleared out my personal items from my office space. The notebooks belonged to me. I purchased them using my own funds. All official company documents are stored on the server. It seems there might be a misunderstanding regarding the process involved here. In fact, this is precisely how it operates. I was let go unexpectedly and without prior warning. Brimvale has relinquished any expectation of my assistance. She ended the call. After a brief interval of 10 minutes, I received a call from security requesting the return of my company notebooks. I advised them to review my employment contract. Notebooks bought with individual funds continued to be considered personal belongings. At 1:30, Laura called, her laughter ringing through the line. "Chloe has just sent me a message. She noticed Amanda sharing intriguing new opportunities at Brimvale on LinkedIn. It seems she is attempting to frame this as a beneficial reorganization. How is that progressing for you? Several of your previous clients have already inquired about your whereabouts. News spreads rapidly in the biotech sector. By 3 in the afternoon." Following a highly encouraging phone interview with Drift Shade, I found clarity regarding Amanda's previous inquiry about sabotage. This was not an act of sabotage. Sabotage suggested that I had intentionally taken steps to harm something. I left with nothing but the knowledge I had gained when they ushered me out. Amanda's decision not to take the time to understand how the department truly operated was entirely her own. It was her choice to let go of the one individual who grasped the complexities of their most significant accounts. I dedicated 15 years to creating something truly meaningful. Amanda had dedicated 15 minutes to thoroughly dismantling it. At this moment, she was discovering the true value of that knowledge. Another text from Rachel made my phone buzz. Hollowgate reached out. They are inquiring about your availability for freelance consultation. It seems there is considerable dissatisfaction regarding Brimvale's inadequate preparation. I responded, "Please inform them that I am unavailable. However, it may be worth exploring Drift Shade Limited for their biotechnology requirements. At times, the most effective form of retribution is to gracefully withdraw and allow individuals to confront the outcomes of their own decisions." On Saturday morning, a phone call from Eric, my former colleague from the Shanghai team, provided a moment of clarity. "Victor, there's something important I need to share with you," he said. "I likely should have shared this with you weeks back." I brewed a cup of coffee and settled into my seat. "I'm all ears." "Amanda has been reaching out to our international clients. This is not intended for fostering relationships. For knowledge. She sought to understand the specifics of contract terms, renewal dates, and pricing structures. Lessons she ought to have gleaned from the internal documents. The image sharpened in focus. What more is there to consider? She requested that I provide her with copies of all my client correspondence, stating that it was for a quality assurance review. When I informed her that it was already recorded in the CRM system, she firmly insisted on needing the original documents. A chill began to creep into my sarcasm. "Have you sent those yet?" "Absolutely not. However, Victor, it seems to me that she was gathering evidence to support her position against you." seeking to demonstrate that you were concealing information or improperly handling accounts. That clarified the unexpected curiosity surrounding my techniques, inquiries regarding my connections with clients. Amanda was not seeking to gain knowledge from me. She had been attempting to substitute me with documentation that she could manage. There's additional information to consider, Eric went on. In the wake of the Hollow Gate disaster, she convened an urgent meeting yesterday. You informed everyone that you intentionally kept essential information hidden to undermine the company. What else? Rachel quickly put an end to that. It was noted that you had extended an offer to train Amanda on all your accounts upon her arrival. Amanda chose to decline, expressing her desire to cultivate her own methods. I recalled that discussion. 3 months ago, I dedicated an entire weekend to crafting training materials for Amanda. Comprehensive client profiles, preferences in communication, essential specifications. She briefly reviewed them and remarked that conventional relationship management was overly time-consuming for contemporary business methods. How's the atmosphere in the workplace? I inquired. Stressful. Daniel has scheduled a comprehensive meeting for all staff on Monday. It appears that he is enlisting the help of external consultants to evaluate the ongoing client relations crisis. After Eric hung up, I found myself reflecting on the profound implications. Amanda's decision to let me go was not made on a whim. She had meticulously crafted her plans over the course of several weeks. The Hollow Gate presentation was intended to demonstrate her capability to manage my responsibilities. A productive meeting would have affirmed her strategy and provided a rationale for my dismissal. Instead, it revealed the extent of her misunderstanding regarding the responsibilities she had taken on. The sound of my phone ringing broke the silence. Driftshade Limited. Hello, Victor. This is Miranda Chen reaching out to you. I apologize. Miranda Holloway hails from Driftshade. We would be pleased to arrange an in-person interview for Monday. Our team found your experience to be quite remarkable. I would love to learn more about this topic. We have been observing Brimvale's recent changes with a sense of unease. Numerous partners have reported interruptions in their client service. We seek an individual who recognizes the significance of cultivating relationships in business development. Once she ended the call, it dawned on me that Amanda had actually done me a service. For many years, I found a sense of comfort at Brimvale. Competitive compensation, well-known habits, developed connections. However, I had ceased to develop. I had become so absorbed in preserving what I had created that I overlooked the opportunities to expand elsewhere. That afternoon, Laura discovered me in the garage, sorting through tools that had lain untouched for months. Was it a fruitful day? She inquired. Illuminating day. I have an interview scheduled for Monday with Driftshade. They are presenting a 20% boost in salary along with equity options. That's great to hear, but you don't appear to be very pleased about it. I released the grip on the wrench I had been holding. My thoughts often drift back to my team, Rachel, Eric, and the rest of the group. They are decent individuals entangled in the complications created by Amanda. It's important to recognize that not everyone can be saved, Victor. Your next actions are the only things within your control. She was indeed correct. Amanda had arrived at her decisions. Now she would face the repercussions of her choices. My role involved making more informed decisions for my future. On a Monday morning, I donned my finest suit and made my way to the headquarters of Driftshade Limited in the heart of downtown Kansas City. The interview exceeded my expectations. By midday, I received a formal offer, director overseeing client relationships at a senior level, a 25% increase in salary, comprehensive advantages, a signing bonus that would fully fund Chloe's college tuition for the upcoming 2 years. I immediately agreed. As I stepped out of their offices, a sense of lightness enveloped me, something I hadn't experienced in months. It's not about the financial aspect. Due to the potential opportunities, Drift Shade was experiencing rapid growth, securing agreements with major pharmaceutical companies and esteemed research universities. They sought an individual with a deep understanding of cultivating enduring client relationships within a challenging market landscape. A person who mirrors my own essence. I received a text from Rachel that made my phone buzz. Brimvale's stock experienced a decline of 3% this morning. The buzz surrounding Holligate is spreading widely. I found it quite predictable. In the biotech field, word spreads quickly. Experience the loss of a significant client due to inadequate preparation. Some began to doubt your dependability. With each passing day, Amanda's attempts at modernization increasingly resembled a lack of competence. On Tuesday, the Kansas City Business Journal released a concise piece regarding Holligate Systems' decision to choose Driftshade Limited for their biosensor initiative. The $30 million contract I had dedicated 8 months to developing was now being handed over to my new employer. On Wednesday, Eric reached out to provide an update. Yesterday, Daniel made the decision to terminate Amanda's employment, effective immediately. How is the team managing the situation? Primarily, a sense of relief. However, discussions are underway regarding the potential engagement of an external consultant to evaluate the efficiency of the department. I experienced a deep sense of compassion for my previous co-workers. They had endured Amanda's short-lived leadership, yet corporate restructuring felt akin to an insidious virus. Once it began, it became difficult to halt. Eric, may I pose a question to you? Absolutely. Do you find joy in your time at Brimvale? Extended silence. Not quite. What is the reason behind this? Drift Shade is experiencing growth. They are seeking specialists in international business development. Your experience and language skills would be highly beneficial. Are you truly serious? I begin on Monday. If you're keen, I can arrange an interview for you. On Thursday, Miranda Holloway reached out with a thought-provoking proposition. Victor, we've been contemplating the expansion of our pharmaceutical consulting division. It would be essential to have a leader to guide this initiative. A person possessing extensive expertise in the field and well-established connections. That represents a considerable growth. We are ready to commit substantial resources. I'm curious if you happen to know anyone who would be keen on embarking on a project from the very beginning. My mind wandered to Rachel, regarding her knowledge in regulatory compliance and her unfulfilled aspirations. Regarding the instances in which Amanda overlooked her for promotion on 3 separate occasions. There's a possibility I could have a connection. On a Friday afternoon, I made my way to Brewster's Coffee House, the very spot where I had witnessed Amanda's world unravel just a week prior. This occasion marked my meeting with Rachel. Victor, I am truly astonished by what you're presenting. Embrace it. Drift Shade aims to establish a division focused on pharmaceutical consulting. You would assume the role of the founding director. Complete independence. Attractive compensation package. Moreover, the opportunity to create something truly meaningful. What is the situation with Eric? It has been accepted already. He embarks on his new role as International Business Development Manager this Monday. Rachel gazed contemplatively at her coffee for an extended moment. Yesterday, Daniel extended an offer for your previous position to me. Leader of Client Relations Department. Are you considering it? I had intentions to do so. Up to this point, Brimvale is poised to thrive. A new hire will be brought on board. Restore what was taken from them. However, it will require a significant amount of time. What about Drift Shade? Drift Shade is progressing ahead, regardless of our presence. The inquiry at hand is whether we aspire to contribute to the creation of something innovative or to mend what is currently flawed. For the first time since I had known her, she smiled. When should I begin? By the end of the week, Driftshade had brought on board 3 individuals who previously worked at Brimvale. Neither by means of poaching nor through recruitment, by means of opportunity. We were not fleeing from anything. We were striving for a brighter future. Amanda imparted a profound understanding of the distinction between managing individuals and truly leading them. We now have the opportunity to apply that lesson effectively. 3 months later, I found myself in a conference room at Driftshade's newly expanded offices, engaging in a thorough examination of the quarterly results alongside Miranda Holloway and the executive team. The figures were striking. The pharmaceutical consulting division has experienced a remarkable increase of 200%. The growth in international contracts has surged by an impressive 150%. Client satisfaction scores have reached unprecedented levels. Victor, your team has surpassed all of our expectations, Miranda remarked. The implementation of Hollowgate has sparked 5 new contract inquiries. Rachel, currently serving as the Director of Pharmaceutical Consulting, offered a warm smile from across the table. The process of obtaining regulatory approval unfolded with an unexpected ease. When clients experience such remarkable efficiency, news travels quickly. Eric connected via video from Shanghai, where he was finalizing an agreement with a prominent research hospital. The global expansion is progressing faster than anticipated. We are exploring 3 new markets for the upcoming quarter. That afternoon, an unexpected email landed in my inbox. Daniel Brimvale expressed a desire to gather for a coffee chat. Our encounter took place at Brewster's Coffee House. It felt fitting. Daniel appeared more aged, his weariness more pronounced than I recalled. "Victor, I must express my sincere apologies," he stated. "I erred significantly with Amanda. What's the current status of Brimvale enduring?" The Hollowgate situation resulted in the loss of 4 significant clients. Unfortunately, we had to make the difficult decision to let go of 15 employees. The stock price continues to remain below its previous levels. He gently swirled his coffee, allowing the rich aroma to envelop him. Amanda has had a greater impact on us than just in terms of clients. Her departure resulted in a loss of valuable institutional knowledge, connections that have been cultivated over many years. Restoration is possible. Perhaps. However, it will not be identical. He raised his gaze. "I learned about your achievements at Driftshade, the sector dedicated to pharmaceuticals, the Global Growth Initiative. That was meant to be the trajectory of Brimvale's development." I remained silent. There was little to discuss. "Have you thought about the possibility of returning? I have the opportunity to present you with Amanda's position, Vice President of Operations. Complete control over client interactions. Exploring the realm of business growth, all aspects. I feel content with my current situation, Marcus. Increase your existing salary by 2-fold. It's not just about money." He reclined in his chair, reflecting on the moment. "What is the subject matter confidence? By hiring Amanda, you seem to embrace the notion that relationships hold little significance. That experience can be substituted with enhanced efficiency. Your decision led to that outcome. I acknowledge my mistake." Indeed, that was the case. However, the harm has already been inflicted. Your clients have lost their trust in Brimvale. There is a lack of trust between employees and leadership. To be honest, I have reservations about your ability to avoid repeating the same error." Daniel departed, leaving his coffee untouched. As I observed him departing, an unexpected emotion washed over me. It's unfortunate. He had gained a profound understanding of the significance of experience and loyalty, albeit at a high cost. Half a year following my departure, Driftshade Limited revealed a significant acquisition. The pharmaceutical consulting resources of 3 smaller biotech companies are coming together to form the largest independent consulting practice in the Midwest. I have been appointed as the Senior Vice President of Strategic Development. The announcement captured significant attention, landing prominently on the front page of the Kansas City Business Journal. The piece highlighted my former position at Brimvale, indicating that my exit had come just before their recent challenges. Amanda has recently embarked on a new journey with a startup in Denver, as noted on LinkedIn. Her profile highlighted her expertise in organizational transformation and change management. Brimvale was notably absent from the discussion, leaving the actual outcomes of that transformation unaddressed. I couldn't help but appreciate the poetic justice at play. In her attempt to demonstrate that relationships are insignificant, she undermined the very connections that sustained Brimvale's competitiveness. In her attempt to demonstrate that experience can be substituted, she inadvertently removed the very experience that contributed to their worth. Rachel and Eric flourished in their new positions. The team we assembled at Drift Shade truly embodied the ideals of what contemporary business should represent, as Amanda articulated: effective, outcome-oriented, and lucrative. The distinction lay in our approach, which was rooted in mutual respect and shared understanding rather than relying on corporate jargon and random reorganizations. Last week, Chloe called from college with news that truly brought everything into perspective. Dad, my business professor, highlighted your story as a compelling example of the significance of institutional knowledge and the management of relationships. She referred to it as the Brimvale error. What information did you share with her? My dad always said that the greatest form of revenge is to live your life to the fullest. Laura's accuracy once again proved to be spot on. It's impossible to rescue everyone. Your next actions are the only things within your control. Half a year later, the board of directors at Brimvale compelled Daniel to resign from his position as CEO, following a string of unsuccessful client acquisitions and escalating financial setbacks. Amanda's venture in Denver came to an end after just 8 months, resulting in her having to address the gap in her resume to a growing number of doubtful employers. The organizational transformation she had championed turned into a notable example discussed in business schools nationwide. Often the most fulfilling triumphs are those in which no physical confrontation is necessary.